Welcome to the Never Seen It podcast, the only podcast called Never Seen It that's worth listening to. With us tonight, Mr. Arnie, the one party is here. Arnold Callego, Mr. Daily Dares, aka Filipino Biggio, aka Alex Callego, the brothers Callego, Mr. Ghost Nerd 88, aka Justin Holden, Mr. Donnie Appleseed, aka Donnie Guzman, the cousins Callego / Guzman, and then there's me, Boots Too Big, aka Adrian De La Torre. Tonight we're discussing a recap of our recent trip to San Diego Comic-Con 2026. This was my first time going to Comic-Con, and I didn't actually go into Comic-Con, which I almost feel ashamed to say, but at the same time, I experienced a lot. First of all, let me just say, I fucking love San Diego. San Diego's such a great city. The vibes were immaculate. It's exactly what you would expect for that kind of crowd at that time of the year, even though it was hot. Like, the Gaslamp District is right there. It's perfect. They're talking about, I was reading, San Diego renews Comic-Con until at least 2030. I'm like, where else would they go? You know, I don't know. I feel like the Gaslamp Quarter is like the perfect place to go after for drinks, for food, for partying, for whatever, which we did. We did a good amount of that. Played a little bit of what's the basketball game called? It's not called basketball. It's called something else in that coin out place.
I don't know. Skeet basketball.
Skeet basketball. Yeah. Arnold, you got some swishes in, right, Arnold? If I remember correctly.
But then Johnny beat me, and I'm holding up to it. I'm really ashamed of.
Oh yeah, Johnny got Arnold got 24. He didn't quite hit the 30 to add that additional 5.
28.
Oh, 28. That's right. But he didn't quite hit the 30 that needed to add on the extra 5 seconds to get more points. Yeah. But Johnny did.
Yeah.
And he ended up at like 38 on his first try.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He was using a different hoop, which I feel like the one that I was using, like the rim was.
It was an oval-shaped hoop.
Hey, you can't blame the rim.
It was an oval-shaped rim, right, Arnold?
Because once I get it rolling,
you can't blame the rim job.
Yeah, exactly. Don't blame the rim job.
I ain't rimming around.
That's the thing about Comic-Con. I feel like it's all encompassing in San Diego. Like San Diego becomes a character in and of itself, right? And I got to hang out with Arnold, with Alex, with Donnie, with Justin, with Amber. Like, we were all there. And then some. We had, like, your guys' normal group of people that go. We'll give them a quick shout out. Lance and Clark and Johnny and Kay and Adura. And a couple of Adura's friends whose names I can't remember right now. We were all there.
OG.
His
cousin.
His cousin.
And then I think OG's girlfriend.
Yeah. Ify.
Yeah.
In fact, check out our socials right now. We posted a bunch of content, a bunch of videos and pictures. Adura had like 4 costume changes. It was great. He was Black Panther.
Also
Darth
Chef
Vader.
Logan Kendall. Chef Logan Kendall,
yes. Future guest of the show. So
find him on Instagram. He's a fabulous chef.
Yeah. And a fabulous hang, right?
Yes.
We all got to hang out. So I feel like I experienced a lot of what you would experience going to Comic-Con, even though I didn't actually go into the convention center. Got to interview some interesting people outside the convention center, and that was fun. So, yeah, I would say for me, 8 out of 10, easily. The only reason why I knocked it down is because of the weather. I fucking hate the weather. It was muggy and hot, so, but whatever.
Yeah, it was super humid, and honestly,
very humid.
Yeah.
I was sweating my ass off. I think I lost a lot of water weight this week.
Blame it on the super El Nino.
Yeah. But the vibes are great, though. We went to the Adult Swim Rave Laser Show DJ party.
Yeah, they just do some like after parties after every, at the end of every day.
It was great. That was fun. I had to walk to the nearby hotel to use the restroom, but it was a quick walk, thankfully. Everything is right there. That's the other thing I really want to touch on. When it comes to public transpo, San Diego's got your back, man. You take that train that goes from the hotel to the convention center. I mean, what else can you ask for, I think? But yeah.
I almost didn't miss having a hotel right next to the convention. Almost.
Yeah. Kind of makes you feel like a New Yorker. Probably not, but it could almost make you feel like a New Yorker if you're so inclined to feel like a New Yorker. But yeah, overall, I had a great time. I think the best part for me was hanging out with you guys and getting to spend some quality time. I met Donnie for the first time in person, so thank you, Donnie, for hanging out.
Yeah,
we got to commiserate about certain things and talk about certain things and have fun. Got to have a little hop over to Vegas for a day and we had some breakfast there. What was the name of that place? Give them a quick shout out. I forget the name of that burrito place.
Oh, Sayulitas. It's like
Sayulitas.
Mexican infused with Filipino content
So
to the
good.
burritos. I think San Diego has one too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where they originally came from here.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And I will
But
say,
like San Diego, Vegas gets all the the cool chain restaurants,
Right.
and they all kind of seem to eventually make their way. They even have, what's that name of the Hawaiian restaurant? It's like their first time
Zippies.
they've done Zippies.
Zippies.
They have a Zippies there.
Zippies, yeah.
well, what Vegas makes up for in restaurants, it lacks in the airport because the San Diego airport is modern and beautiful and just modern airport. And then you go to Vegas airport and you're like, what the hell is this place? Like, there's fucking slot machines everywhere, and it's like gross.
there
That's crazy
slot
because
meet?
I actually love the Vegas airport more. Actually, the
Same.
only airport I love more than the Vegas airport is probably the Burbank airport because it's so. I just like how small and
I like
tiny
how
it
small
is.
the Burbank
But
airport
man, it was my first time
I'm
in
not a
the
fan of
San
San Diego
Diego
airport.
I
and
love
was
San
like,
Diego's airport.
I was like,
What?
damn, dude, this place is small for such a big
It is small.
area.
It was.
like, damn.
I was surprised at the size of it.
Well, the interesting fact about the San Diego airport, it's the only international airport that has just one lane.
Really?
Yeah, there's no. You know how a lot of airports have multiple
Yeah.
landing strips?
Denver's
They
is
only
shaped
have-
like a Nazi symbol. That's
Well,
true. Look
San
at it from the
Diego-
map. Look at it from the map. It's shaped
I
like
believe you. I believe
You know, that makes a lot of sense, Alex, for all the delays. Man, I suffered
Mm-hmm.
I suffered through the plane delays this year,
Oh,
both to
man.
and from,
Oh, no.
man.
Oh, man.
It was
This is the
insane.
first year I didn't
was-
have any delays.
Wow. Yeah,
Wow.
I went from we were gonna leave at 2 p.m. from Vegas, and then we ended up leaving at 8:30 or something like that instead. So we made it back to town really, really late.
Yeah.
Or made it to San Diego late.
Yeah, the delays made you pretty much lose a day.
The last thing I'll say about the Vegas airport is that it was a gamble. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, it was a good time. It was a good time overall. Yeah, but you know what? The other thing I will say, fuck Frontier. Don't fly Frontier, guys. Anyone listening, I hate Frontier so much. What a terrible airline. It's like I don't know. It's like the what could I compare it to? There's something I can't even compare it to right now. It's just a bad airline. In Denver, they don't even use a jet bridge. You have to go down a level and you have to walk onto the tarmac to get onto the plane. So
It's like the prison bus version of airplanes.
there you go. I felt like I was in prison at times. The way the people, what do you call them? The people that board you and stuff, those agents, they're like, all right, everybody get in line now. It's like that kind of shit. So yeah, they'll yell at you. But anyway, whatever, Frontier, they're never going to sponsor this show, so don't worry about that. But I want to talk to you guys about your experiences. Arnold,
What's
let me
up,
start
Lance?
with you, my friend. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, what's up, Lance and Chet?
Oh, they're in
yeah,
the chat.
Screw Frontier.
Arnold, let me start with you. What was your highlights from SDCC 2026?
Highlights. So that was really cool to go to the Drifter panel, and even before that, it was what do
Tell
they
us
call it?
about that. What's Drifter?
Drifter is with Sung Kang, so the Asian dude in the Fast and the Furious series. The super cool guy who ended up Gal Gadot ended up being his girlfriend in the movie. That guy, Sung Kang. So he's having a movie called Drifter that's coming out soon, and that was a really cool panel. What did he say? It was like a love poem of about all things car community. That he had to bring in all the people a lot of people that he cared about, people in the car world. Let's see what. Oh, but before that, the panel before that, because it was in Ballroom 20. It was like Colliders something, but it was like a bunch of directors and stuff that I think it was a great panel to sit in on, and just for like up and coming directors and writers, producers, to hear from them their point of view, just of like struggles and things of how it actually is in that world. There was a lot that you can learn from, be inspired by, and you know, those are a lot of the cool things. Like you get in. I got into that extra early, so that way I was like in the second row for the
Oh,
for the
nice.
drifter panel, and so I secured some seats for the crew. That was that
For the
Thursday.
pit crew.
Yeah. Pit crew.
Is it called the pit crew because it just smells bad all the time?
Yeah. We made sure that
There
everyone
were some smelly people in the con.
So is that
I know.
stereotype really
Extra
true?
smelly.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's not
I
good.
mean, you'll be walking around and it's like, man, it's barely 8:30 in the morning, and did they not shower or what? But,
I was in the AEW panel, and I was sitting in the second row. Amber was sitting next to me, and then she kept on like she like turned to me. She's like, "This guy smells so bad. This guy smells so bad." And then
She
I
hates
was like,
bad smells, dude.
and she was like, it was funny because it was like for some reason her whole body was blocking that smell, but then she's like, I can't stand this anymore. She got to we got to the almost the very end, and she stood up and like walked to the side, and then like as soon as she stood up, this wall of fucking stench hit me,
No.
and I was
no.
like, oh my god, that's what she was talking about.
she was breathing it in, and she was filtering the smell.
Her, Arnold,
you.
and I were on the train at one point, and she was like, towards the back of the train. I could see her. She was like,
She was straight up like this. She was all like,
she like
Yikes.
ran out of the train like a bat out of hell. Remember, Arnold? I
was
was like, yeah, but where are you going?
I was
She was
walking
like
the
this?
con floor, and it smelled like fucking someone shit themselves in like
Oh.
a couple of the spots. I'm like, oh my god, dude! And Jess was like, what's wrong? I was like, it smells like someone shit themselves. She doesn't have like the keenest sense of smell like I do. I unfortunately have the most sensitive sense of smell of all time, and the convention floor smelled gross. I even there was like moments when I was sweating. I'm like, man, I fucking super self-conscious, so I started smelling gross. Dude, me and Jess, we took at least 3 showers a day while we were there, because it was rough. It was a rough year for
That's
the heat and
crazy.
humidity,
Yeah.
man.
Does the
Way
comic
more.
convention center not have like a good like I don't know
they've got AC.
No, they got AC.
they
They
see,
have
yeah,
AC.
but like do they have like a
It's just the
ventilation
humidity.
system to suck out all the
They have to.
There's
Okay.
certain
Yeah.
sections of the con. If you notice, you walk right into the path of the AC, and you see a bunch of people just huddled there. So they're all just like trying to take in the AC because it's so hot in there.
Wow.
See,
Yeah.
the problem is with any sort of event that you go to. It could be a Comic-Con, it could be Coachella. You
Video
stumble
game
up,
school.
if somebody stinky goes into a crowd and it's like packed in together like
Yeah.
like sardines,
Yeah.
it's gonna concentrate. It's like cupping your hands around something stinky, and then like you open your hands, it's just gonna smell even worse.
You know how there's all
Yeah.
these, there's like tons of, I was reading through the pamphlet, there's like tons of panels that they do. I saw like some filmmaking related panels and blah, blah, blah. Why isn't there like a hygiene panel or something? Like basic hygiene skills, like something. Like a 30-minute, like this is how
you shouldn't have to be taught that at a
you
Comic-Con.
shouldn't have to be.
Yeah.
You
But
shouldn't.
you have to be.
Although
remember
I am disappointed that Old Spice didn't sponsor the convention this year.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's-
they were there last year.
Ice Spice.
No.
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Ice Spice.
No, I have a funny story about it wasn't Old Spice, it was Axe. I remember I went to E3 when they were like still industry only, and the second year I went, the first year I went in 2009, the second year I went in 2010, and when I went the second year, I guess the stench and smell was so bad from some people that they actually had Axe body spray actually like give out free little sticks of deodorant to everybody that came into the convention floor. They literally they had people out there, just a row of people just handing out little sticks of deodorant and little like test size like body sprays at the same time. So everybody got fucking Axe, like the deodorant stick and the spray. It was crazy because it was the first year I remember I was like the stench was stanky.
You know what they should do? Like, I know that people aren't allowed to walk the floors and hand out flyers and freebies and stuff like that because like it does cause a sort of congestion because people they'll see, oh, they're handing out free stuff, and they'll go running towards that person who's like handing free stuff. However, I think they should make an exception for a deodorant company. So every time like they walk past somebody stinky, be like, here you go, here's some Axe body spray.
HLP has a great idea in the chat. He's like, you guys should make your own brand of deodorant and hand that out at SDCC.
You know,
that's not a bad idea.
That's been something though that like I think we've like talked about like a whole.
Can
bunch
we
of
drop
times.
ship like from China like 1,000 sticks of deodorant? And
We'll
sell them?
do cedarwood. I feel like we all smell like cedarwood.
You know who doesn't? You know who doesn't smell? This gang. Because I spent the whole weekend with you guys, and if anything, like Arnold, every time you came out of the bathroom, it was like a wave of fresh beach scent like coming off of you. Like it was like a nice. I don't know what you were using in there, but every time you came out of the bathroom, it was like, oh wow, that smells good. Arnold, go back in there and come back out.
Combination of Degree deodorant, Bath and Body Works lotion, and Tommy Bahama cologne. And I was thinking, you see people with those neck fans.
Oh yeah.
To keep cool, they should have these, but also air purifiers installed in them. So that way, it also it cools you. But then when it gets a little stinky, you turn on the the air purifier mode.
Some people there's
I love
no
this
air.
idea.
Some people there's no air purifying that there's not enough air purification that could like remove their stench. They just need to take a fucking shower.
Just take a fucking shower.
Yeah.
I will say this though.
And wear fresh socks.
I don't want to shame people who do legitimately have a medical issue.
No.
Yeah, there are people who have a legitimate medical issue where they just can't help but stink.
Yeah.
That's fine. I get it. But if you are like consciously going to the con and not showering and not changing your undies and not putting on deodorant, you are the problem. You are the cause of all of our dread of like walking through a crowd of people that we need to go through, but you're the one that made it so stinky and horrible for us. So
I had a roommate who is like the perfect demographic for like Comic-Con. I don't know if he's ever been, but this is years ago, obviously in college. And we would have to remind him to take showers. Like, I'm not even kidding. He'd build up a funk and be like, oh, dude, are you, when's the last time you took a shower? Oh, 3 days ago? Yeah, you might want to take a shower there, bud. And it was bad. Like, he'd walk out of his room and his room would you'd get a whiff of like just stale, like air.
And that shit lingers on everything, like your clothes, like your bags,
everything.
Like you're sleeping on that shit. You're sleeping on the reason why it stinks is because it's bacteria.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
HLP says you call it the never smell it a trademark. I love that idea. We should actually just drop ship some deodorant. Yeah, pass those out.
let's move on from this stench talk.
Yeah, let's move on from the stench. That was
Arnold, was there anything else that you thought was good that you'd like to mention before we go on to somebody else?
The Comic-Con, the bathrooms in the Comic-Con and the convention center for number 2 for the very first time ever.
And they were clean?
Well, I mean, it was okay, but I
that was a good memorable experience for you. Is that what you want to like talk about?
It was because it was my first time ever. I always had the luxury before of like, oh, I'm gonna go to the hotel real quick, because those were like close by, but this time I was like, I wouldn't make it to the Hilton Bayfront or the Marriott Marquis. I was like, I gotta go.
Right.
The night before it was a lot of hard liquor, so
Arnold, let me ask you this. me ask you this: what's one thing if you could change about Comic-Con? What would it be? What's one thing?
I thought we were gonna hold off to the
Oh,
to the
okay,
end
we can
for
say.
that.
I'll let you think about that, Arnold.
Let's save that for
Let's
the
put a
end.
pin in that, like Sam used to say.
Yeah.
Let's put a pin in that.
I had a great time.
You had a great time.
Let's pass it on.
I had
to
a great
this
time
guy.
because you had a great
I
time.
love the fact that Arnold. It's like, you know, when you go to like a party, like at Chuck E. Cheese, and then they used to like have like the coins, and then they hand out the coins to all the kids. Like, here's coins for you to play games. I like that Arnold. We gave him his tokens, and he talks about like Drifter for one, which is a good thing to talk about. The second coin he spends it on is talking about having to take a shit at the convention. So you used your token to talk about taking a shit.
Hey man, you know it's human nature. You can't
I mean,
deny human
it's
nature.
fine. You're allowed to spend your tokens on whatever you want to.
I thought you were going to talk about me when I was passing out tokens at the coin op.
That was a very memorable part.
That was fun. That was a fun night.
Cool.
When
Coin
I
op
first,
was a good
because
time.
it was like supposed to be emo night, and then Adura was like, "Oh, it's emo night. I'm ready to mosh." But then when we walked in there, I was thinking like there would be a big space for people to mosh, but it was like a 8x8 little area next to the billiards. And I was like, it was mostly just like a bar and games.
That happened a long time ago when we went to Coin Up. And I was like, oh, that's because when you guys all talked about that you're going to Coin Up, I was like, oh, that's weird because like the last time we did that, they advertised similar things and then nothing was going on. It was just a bunch of people hanging out
I remember we
at
walked
the
in
bar.
and walked out.
Yeah.
I think we walked in and walked.
Yeah, we walked in, walked out.
it was
It's
hot
a
in
small
there, too.
spot. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, let me
Well,
ask you
I think the difference between that time and this time, there were actually a lot of people and this time around. The last time we went there, it was pretty dead.
Let me ask you guys this really quick. Do you think that you would have as much fun if Comic-Con wasn't in San Diego? Like if it was just some other hypothetical city? Like would you have as much fun if you weren't that close to downtown, you think?
I feel like I wouldn't have as much fun. It would
Right.
still be a fun time.
Right.
But there's that sort of like element of like the cosplay happening, you know. There is like, you know, just people who are a lot more like-minded. So any conversations that you would have at like the bar would more than likely be revolve around similar interests. And not saying that that's necessary to have a good time, but it's more likely to happen.
Gotcha. Arnold, what do you think? As someone who likes to party and have fun, I mean, would you have as much fun if the Gaslamp wasn't right there?
I mean, the bar scene, the Gaslamp scene, that can kind of be replicated. But I was thinking more like close by, you've got the Comic-Con Museum, then the Comic-Con International. The headquarters is right there. You've got so much of the Comic-Con community already built in there because it's been there for so long. And so if they were to move it, it would. I don't think it would. It would be hard to replicate that.
Agreed. Justin.
I think we've had this discussion in the past. I think with our, pre-Comic-Con discussion, I think that we all had something like that, our expectations, and I think you shared a similar question on that episode as well. But going out there this time around, not having been there for like 7 years, I can't really picture this convention to be anywhere else. Gaslamp is such a key part to the convention center, because there's so many like different kinds of bars. All of the bars get together to participate, whether it's like they're just doing like regular club. Like there's a bunch of cool DJs that were out there, doing their thing. Unfortunately, couldn't get to see a lot of them, but there's always like some like really cool shit going on. You never know who you're gonna run into when you're like. There was one year with the whole Dante Bosco doing his DJ Rufio thing, where he dresses up as his character from the movie Hook and he DJs. It's like crazy. And so you not only get to perform, but I'm sure he was like out there, the meeting and greeting everybody and having a good time with everybody at that same club. Like it's crazy. You never know. Like this year, like the actor that plays Vecna, he was DJing at some place. It's crazy. Like and if you try to put this convention somewhere else, yeah, I'm sure it'll be like pretty big, and I'm sure it'll be successful and everything. But like, what's going to happen outside of that? Like you can't walk. Let's take Vegas for example. You can't just go and walk to the convention center. There's such a large area around the convention center that it's almost
It's on the
impossible.
other side of the strip, though, right? But it's not walkable.
Yeah, it's definitely not walkable. It'll take at least like 25, 30 minutes for you to walk from
So you have to Uber
wherever, unless like you got the parking. But if we have a convention the size of San Diego Comic-Con, that's not going to happen. Like, and then the transportation is going to be slow. It's already slow now.
Yeah.
Like, I think the way that San Diego has it set up, they're prepared for it because they do deal with this every single year. And, you know, and the city follows suit. And the cool thing is that all the streets connect to the convention center. Yeah. You can't get lost either. Like, in anywhere else, like, I think everybody would get lost, frustrated. Yeah.
Can I make a quick
That's
bid
why
for Denver?
that's why they always call it the San Diego Comic-Con campus.
Right. Can I make a quick bid for Denver? Here's my take on this. The convention center here is right downtown. There's a train stop right in front of it. And it's also very walkable. Denver has a pretty decent-ish nighttime scene already, so you're not far from bars and shit like that. And unlike Vegas, it's relatively, cooler here in July. So just putting it out there. Denver might not be.
So where are the yachts over there?
There's no yachts in Denver.
Well, here's the thing too. Like,
unfortunately.
I was watching the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog podcast last night, and our friend David Glanzer, the chief
Friend of the show.
communications at San Diego Comic-Con,
Friend of the show, guest of the show on 2 episodes.
They talked about this. It isn't just putting it in an area that would suffice, like actually have kind of a walkable thing. It's about having the same amount of people, like being able to fit the same amount of people in the convention center. Like, it was 150,000 need to be able to fit into that convention center.
Yeah.
Plus whatever 50,000 extra that are roaming around. And it also has a lot to do with the hotels. The hotels play a huge role. Like, they say a majority of the hotels need to be able to house the attendees. And
Did you say 100,000? It can hold
150,000.
Okay, so apparently the Denver Convention Center can only do up to like 30,000 people. Okay,
yeah,
so that wouldn't work.
That wouldn't work. They even tested like WonderCon as like in LA. Like, Justin and I went to that, and it was not. They tried to make it like do things outside. They had like food trucks and all that sort of stuff, but it just didn't feel like
even in Anaheim
walkable.
now. Like, even in Anaheim now, like, though I think the only thing that happens during the WonderCon in Anaheim is that everybody goes to Disneyland, and Disneyland's packed afterwards. Because guess what? When they do WonderCon, they share some of the Disney parking lots that's out there. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. But there's also no other outside activations because the only things going on around that general area is just like hotels and, timeshares and, things like that. So like Anaheim can barely even handle WonderCon.
I will say downtown Denver is a nightmare to get in and out of whenever there's anything going on. A guy shits on the street and you're going to have traffic for 30 minutes down there. It's so bad. And I say this as someone who's lived
Was
here.
that guy Arnold?
What?
Is it because people slip on it and then they fall? Like
Exactly,
a big cleanup job?
They look like Sub-Zero, and he like sprays ice underneath
But
the guy.
like I
It's
said, we have the train
whoop, whoop,
system.
whoop.
And there's nearby hotels with their own exhibit halls, and you have 2 stadiums downtown as well that you could do stuff at. So just saying.
The thing is, it has nothing to do with the
Logistics,
So the logistics, like you just said, 30,000. That's not gonna.
Well,
like try to send everybody from
up
like
to
San Diego
75,000. So still not 100,000.
it does not hold.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like the proximity from San Diego to LA, that pipeline. It's easier to get people from LA without having to fly them in.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like I have friends. I have a friend who works for Amazon. She comes down to LA with to San Diego from LA to.
Is that a 2-hour drive or a 3-hour drive from LA to San Diego?
2.5.
Okay. And is that just the 5 all the way down, or what is that?
Yes.
Okay. For those of you that don't know, we call it the 5. We don't say I-5. We don't say Interstate 5. No. But it's only a 2.5. That's not bad. That's a day trip, basically. So if you're only going for one day, you wouldn't even need to stay in a hotel, I guess, if you're coming from LA.
I think the only I was gonna say, I think the only Comic-Con that can like hold a torch to San Diego attendance wise would be like New York Comic-Con, NYCC.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is too with that, like I think that once you leave the convention center, there's no possible way to do outside activations.
Oh yeah,
for New York. Mm-hmm. But they get their attendance is higher. They get like 200,000, but they don't have like mega
Which
panels
island
or anything
is
like
that?
that.
Is that
like
in
all the
Manhattan,
star
or is that
powers in
somewhere
San
else?
Diego. I've never been. I've
It's
always
at the
wanted to
Javits
go.
Center.
That's definitely on the list.
Epstein Island.
Oh, okay.
It's a jet.
Definitely not.
Donnie,
There's
what
no
were some
Hall H
highlights
there, though. You know, like they don't have anything like that. All the mega panels are going to be in San Diego Comic Con, so it's definitely catered to a totally different market.
What were highlights for you, Donnie?
They would probably put like mega panels in like Madison Square Garden if it's in that area. I don't know New York very well, so I'm just talking out of my ass.
Oh, it's in Manhattan.
I was just thinking because the proximity of San Diego Comic Con to Hollywood, you're definitely going to have a stronger presence when it comes to like celebrity power and stuff.
Yeah.
If
What
that's
were some
you're looking
highlights this year for you, Donnie?
Well, speaking of celebrities, there was a lot of people present that I came across. Some I didn't even know. Like I high-fived Ryan Reynolds at one point. Didn't even know it was him till I read about it.
You did that?
Because I thought the quality of his costume was amazing. Later, I learned it was actually Ryan Reynolds. I also
stupid
saw
question, but that's the studio making that for him, right? He's not like doing that on his own.
100%. Like it was totally like you could tell it was like official, but I was just like I had no idea it was him, right? Till like 2 days after we left the con. Yeah. I ran into Johnny Depp. I was looking right at him,
that's right.
and I was wondering why everybody was there. I had never even heard about the Scrooge thing, so I had no clue it was him. I walked away. I didn't even take a picture. I was like, "Who is this? Why is everybody taking a picture of this guy?"
Amber and I walked by that.
It was Johnny Depp.
On Wednesday, Amber and I walked by. We're like, "What are these people doing out here?" And we were like, we walked right in front
That's
of where
exactly
he would
what
have.
I said.
Yeah, if we had stayed like an extra 5 minutes longer, we would have probably seen him too. But yeah,
I looked at him and I still didn't recognize him. I walked away after staring at him for a little bit. I was like, I didn't even take a picture.
I just love that it's
You
like,
looked at him and you're like, "What are you looking at, old man?"
who asked for an Ebenezer Scrooge movie? Who's this for? That's what I want to know. Who asked for this?
Yeah.
Like Ebenezer
Good job,
Scrooge.
man. I mean,
People are chomping at the bit to get the origin
like,
story.
Hey, I need another remake.
Their tagline is literally, before he was Scrooge, he was Ebenezer. What? Like, he's always been Ebenezer. What are you talking about? That's his name. Like, I don't know. It just seems silly to me, but I get it.
Is it like a prequel to him meeting the ghosts or something? Is that why they say it like that?
Your guess
It's like,
is as good as mine.
here's this,
maybe
here's
it's
this
his
really
story.
fucking
Prequel to the
grumpy
ghost.
old guy that before all the events of him changing happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Great movie.
Isn't him meeting the ghost a prequel to his life already? Why do we need another origin story for this guy?
What if they made it in 3 parts, but every time he visits each ghost, it's one movie?
Oh, okay.
that's hilarious.
I could see that actually. Like that could work. Its own little cinematic universe, the Ebenezer Scrooge cinematic universe.
Phase 1.
Phase 1. Kevin Feige, eat your heart out. Donnie, what's one thing you would change?
Yeah.
Oh no, keep that in mind for the end. But let me ask you this: what was a pain point for you this year?
A pain point?
Yeah, like what was like something that like highlights versus lowlights? What was like something that you were like, oh man, that sucked, or I wish that could have gone better.
Man, to be honest with you, I really don't have much complaints this year. Like I've been to a few of the not as many as Arnold and Alex, but I felt like I could navigate through it easier. Everything I wanted to see, I was able to see. Exclusives were the thing for me. Like I couldn't really land anything that I was trying to get, but at the same time, I didn't really planned so well, right? I slept in most of the days. I just kind of leisurely, casually just strolled through, but I wasn't really trying to secure any exclusives like you know, as much as I tried in the past. I wasn't waking up early to get in line and stuff. So yeah, so I guess that would be my only pinpoint. But
what are the major pillars of Comic-Con? You have panels, you have like people in costumes and stuff, you have like buying stuff, right? Like exclusive whatever stuff.
I wouldn't say exclusives per se.
Not per se.
Like I don't think that's like that became a thing later on.
Okay. So that's not, you wouldn't consider that one of the big pillars of why you would go to Comic-Con? No?
I mean,
what are the pillars for
collecting in general is always a pillar. That's like collecting, meeting, and just generally having fun.
I like that.
It's to have joy, like being around community, like having a joyous time, and like collecting the stuff that you love, and that's kind of.
I think panels is a big one for sure.
But that's community though.
And I'm glad you say that, because the Hall H panel is like the panel to go to. And if I'm understanding this correctly, people were waiting outside in line on Friday to get a badge to go into the panel for the next day, I believe is what was going on there. Mm-hmm. It was a long line. Let's just say that. And I didn't understand what was going on until I read about it later.
That line.
Yeah, we saw that. We walked right by it.
People love. Yeah. I was gonna say people love to be like the first to see something, or you know what I mean, like exclusive. Yeah. Oh, I get to preview this before it comes out. Like
that's what I wanted to ask. Like, is Hall H like the Coachella of Comic-Con, where you have to go there for the gram, for the social media, or people genuinely want to go there because they just have to see whatever the big exhibit is?
I would say it's more so the specific panels. I wouldn't say that Hall H as a whole.
It's not just for the gram.
I think it's for like seeing your favorite actors and having the opportunity, because they do have like time slots where you can ask them all questions and things. And sometimes if you're lucky, if they do it, sometimes if you're like the first whatever people, they give like free stuff sometimes before you go into the panel room, or sometimes they'll be like, hey, you have something taped to the bottom of your chair, grab it, and it's like, Oprah, giving everyone a car type of deal. Yeah. It really depends, but I think it's mostly there for people. Well, one, they definitely want to be like, first ones there to see, and also to get like the closest as possible spot or chair, seeing their favorite actors, maybe getting free shit, and asking questions. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the Hall H stuff. There is a FOMO aspect to it, but not a lot of people really care. They just want to be in the room so they can see like what the plans are for Marvel's next phases, or maybe like I went and I got to do a Hall H thing for Terminator Dark Fate, and they brought out like Arnold Schwarzenegger, they brought out Linda Hamilton and some of the newer like actors for that movie. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I actually get to like watch them in person live, be on stage, talk about their movie. It's a pretty wonderful experience, honestly.
So it sounds like it's more than just bragging rights. And then you get the historical pop culture moments of, speaking of Ryan Reynolds, showing up as Deadpool right in the middle of that panel, and he was talking to the cast on stage saying, like, is there room for me in the movie or something like? I didn't watch it, but I heard.
I will say though, like it has a lot. Like Hall H has the mystique. It has a mystique, but overall, it has a lot to do with whatever specific panel you are trying to get to. Like for instance, what Justin said, people are like really, really wanting to know what the Marvel panel is. What they're going to announce. Because they've created this whole like sort of aura mystique around going to see.
Yeah.
And they do it well. Because like what they do is like, if you notice, if you ever watch their panels online, they never do a Q&A. They never do a Q&A. And they're very vague with their answers. And that's it. That's how they keep it. So, but what they do is they give you like a lot of cool reveals to satiate the whole like idea of asking questions at the end of a panel or whatever. As opposed to say, for instance, like like last year when I went to the Toxic Avenger panel. They there wasn't it was easy to get in. It was very easy to get in. I walked in. I didn't have to stand in line. And so that being in Hall H, it didn't really the mystique around it surrounding it. It was definitely something that like the allure to go see the Hall H panel. It's like, oh, you got to go to Hall H. Yeah, I got to go to Hall H, but I didn't go to like a panel where I had to stay overnight. Like the next day when Donnie and I tried to go to what is that, Tron? We tried to get into the Tron panel, and the line was just like capped. They would not let anybody in. Like the rest of the day, we almost got there, but we never did. We never did. And then so it's just basically really all about who you're wanting to see.
If you have a press or media pass, do you get to
No,
go in?
Chris Gore couldn't even get into Hall H for a Marvel.
Chris Gore.
Oh.
You know what? This is the only
No.
year I've been to Comic-Con that I didn't meet up with Chris Gore. You know, every time I've been to Comic-Con, I've
Who's
always
Chris
been
Gore
like,
again?
I don't know if you're familiar
Film
with Film
Oh,
Thread
you
or
guys know that guy?
not really, kind of, sort of.
I know
Like,
of him.
I've seen him in a bunch of different places, and I always say hi, and he always says hi back.
I see him on YouTube all the time talking about screenwriting.
Yeah.
So he's like semi well known. For me, that's how I know him. Anyway, if it's the
Yeah.
same Chris Gore, a guy with like a white hair, sort
Platinum white hair, yeah.
So
loves
really
Batman.
quick though,
Yeah.
nobody here wanted to go to Hall H this year, or what was the thought on that this year?
To me,
didn't
no,
burn it?
because you could just watch the replay later at night.
So you're like, yeah, no sense in waiting in line for 24
Unless you
hours.
wanted to score some of the free stuff that they might be giving away.
No, I wanted to go see the Pan's Labyrinth panel. I really wanted to see that.
yeah.
I wanted to see the
That would've been
Spaceballs
dope.
panel.
Same.
Yeah.
Spaceballs would have been really cool, and I heard it was really fun. I heard Spaceballs was really fun.
I heard Rick Moranis got a standing ovation
Yeah, yeah.
because didn't somebody, poor Rick Moranis, like he comes out from hiding not hiding, but he comes out to public for the first time in 20, 30 years, and some guy in New York punches him. Like, that's fucked up, but you know, I think he's getting his flowers.
But that was in New York. It wasn't at San Diego.
No, I know. That's what I said.
Let's be transparent right there.
This happened in New York.
Yeah.
So that's nice that he's getting his flowers in San Diego now because like he's been through a lot. That's what I'm getting at. But yeah, good for Rick Moranis. I always wondered what happened to him like in the 2000s. I was like, what happened to Rick Moranis? And it turns out he was like trying to focus on family and shit. Which
His last movie was Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, I believe.
was that the last one?
That was his last movie, and then
That's
he retired
crazy.
because of situations. But yeah,
I can't wait for Spaceballs too. I fucking love that movie. That movie's so good. Mel Brooks is.
Is he the guy? Did he like kind of retire because he went to just take care of his dad?
Well, it was family related. I don't know. It was his dad
he
specifically.
went to take care of his kids. And I don't really want to bring up his personal stuff on the podcast, but it has to do with his wife and then him having to go take care of his kids. So
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different guy. Who was doing a lot of movies like back in the day, but he ended up writing a book about it. So
Interesting.
It's probably not him.
I'll have to add that to our Amazon shopping list later. But so Hall H is a pretty big event, and what else did I mean, there's so much else to talk about.
That's not Hall H isn't all of it.
Isn't all right. Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Well, there was that controversy of like the Hall H
Tell us
on
about it.
Saturday. There was like there were more wristbands given out than actual space on Saturday, and they're usually. I was watching this. They were discussing this on the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog with David Glanzer, and he was saying like they're still investigating what went wrong, but it's like an all hands on deck sort of like situation to trying to figure out what happened. But what they think may have happened was at least I don't think this is what they think will happen, but this is what the speculation is. That more wristbands were given out than there was actual space. Now, I don't know how that happened. They don't know how that happened, but it's just But there was also this thing where people were they were getting upset, saying like it says that these wristbands guarantee, and then if you go over the verbiage of the actual like clause for it, it says it doesn't really guarantee, and they have the right to, I don't know, like I gotta find the verbiage for it, but it basically says it's like
A chance.
it doesn't really guarantee. It doesn't really
You're
guarantee
just
it.
getting a chance to go.
To touch on that too, I remember my first and only Hall H experience. There was actually a sign that I read, and again, this was years ago. But still, there was a sign that I read that says that you may not be guaranteed entry. And they do post signs like that in the line. I just don't remember at which point of the line that it says. I think even at the beginning of the line, or at least the beginning where the canopies are usually. But
No,
there
you're
is
correct.
a sign. There is a sign, and it says on that sign that you are not guaranteed to get into Hall H, regardless. And I think that generally means that even if you have a wristband, you're not guaranteed to get into. And I can see how that happens. There's people that are getting in line with the knowledge, or they should be reading with the knowledge saying that you might not get it, even though you're in line. You might not get it. So I mean, that's my experience from the past, though.
The thing I heard, because I was watching a little bit of that with with David Glanzer, he said that the amount of wristbands that they had purchased, that Comic-Con had purchased for Hall H for Saturday, it was less than the amount of people that was allowed.
That's correct. That's
but
correct.
For
It's
somehow,
always less than the.
but some
than
reason there was more. There ended up being more than the capacity. So they're like, where did these extra wristbands come from? Then
And they he also said that they purposely make it difficult to replicate the wristbands. Like at least you can't replicate them on the fly. Like you really have to put a lot of effort into making these wristbands. So they
gotta
have
do
been
something different,
replicated
like
ones.
personal branding. They feel like you really want to get in. Okay, it's not a stamp. Okay, it's gonna burn. Okay.
Hey, well, question. I mean, Marvel's such a big swinging dick and all this. Why don't they just put up like a big ass tent somewhere outside the convention center? Is that possible, or is that not doable?
No, that's not
No,
possible.
okay. I'm just thinking of ideas here. So then make it easier, some temporary
I
structure.
mean, they did have extra room on the grass this year. There's like only 1 or 2 activations out there.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you
And
go.
Hall H is huge, though.
Yeah. Hall H is like holds
That's a
over
big-ass
6,000
tent.
people. It holds.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that like I remember in the conversation on the podcast last night with David Glanzer, he was saying that they are trying to figure out solutions to be able to accommodate more, and that's the problem. It's like I think you could try, like, say they add 2,000 more
again.
Yeah.
They should just
It's
make a
not
Hall
gonna-
H
it's-
arena. 30,000 people.
Put them in
you
Petco
go.
Park.
Everybody fight.
Put them in Petco Park, right? Like
Yeah.
let's like
How
let's
far
have
is
a panel.
Petco Park from the convention center?
It's like a block away.
It's like
Oh,
a block
what?
away. Yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
Honestly,
Like 6 to 9
I've
minutes
seen
walk.
I've
Put 'em
seen
there.
comments online saying they recommend like doing it all at Petco Park. I'm like, you have enough seating, more than enough seating for that than in Hall H, man.
Yeah.
Like that would be, and it'd be cool too because they have like giant screens in there. They have they have a
But
lot
the
of
problem is you have to still buy out the stadium, even though
Yeah.
they don't have any games there. It's you're basically having a private event at
Right,
Petco
right.
Park, and Comic-Con can't like. They aren't willing to afford putting carpet back into the
And they're
convention
technically a
center.
nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
The
They are.
international.
Yeah.
What's it
All
called?
they need is a
International-
major donor to pay for it.
Like you?
No, not yet.
Oh, not yet. Not yet. Well, one day.
They should just come have the panel at our house over here.
Yeah.
We'll do it in the backyard.
Yeah, I like that.
It seats 10,000.
I'm sure I can make it work.
Yeah, just to move some things around.
Hey, get your hands off that statue's penis.
Well,
Hands off the merchandise.
let's talk about activations really quick, because I was outside the convention center. I saw lines for the Percy Jackson, for the Paramount thing, for the I forget what else there was out there. There was a bunch of stuff going on, but
Hulu, Animayhem.
yeah, and I read later. I was reading on Reddit that people were like, "Yeah, you wait like 2 hours in line for an activation. It's like you get a pin and a swift kick in the ass and you're out the door." So it's like wasn't really worth it this year. Like I feel like the general consensus this year for the activations was like,
That's how it is a lot of years.
No, that's not true. I think
some.
that's that's a lot of people just poo-pooing on Comic-Con
Well, it's
because
Reddit,
they're
right? So
yeah, exactly. Reddit likes to poo-poo on like everything.
they poo on this show.
Of course.
The thing is
cares?
that, you don't have to wait in that line.
Right.
If you feel like it's not worth it for you, then it's not
Don't
worth
do
it
it.
to you. Don't do it.
Skip.
I think
Also,
the
what
only
the hell is Percy Jackson? What is that?
it's a book.
Oh, okay.
And
I
it's
didn't know.
also a movie series.
I thought it was like a Harry Potter
series
thing
of
or something.
movies. Yeah,
I never heard of
it's
Pussy Jackson.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like in the same veins as like Harry Potter and things like that. Lord of the Rings. I don't want to compare the two.
So it's not Harry Potter, but it's like Harry Potter.
Pussy Jackson's in the same vein as what?
It's like water Harry Potter.
It's like it's
Water
a show,
Harry Potter.
It's a show on Disney Plus.
Are
I
people
believe.
watching this? Like, is it popular? Do
Yeah.
people like it?
They
Oh.
wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do
Oh.
an outside activation if it wasn't
Well,
popular.
I'm only asking because who the hell asked for Ebenezer Scrooge and we have Percy Jackson over here
well,
in the corner?
the studio did that.
Where's like I don't know. Where's like a
Percy,
what's the franchise
Percy
I know?
Jackson is based on like Greek mythology, I think, like a lot, like they're talking about all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah. Where was the Odyssey? That's a big movie this year. There was no Odyssey. There was no
They're not gonna
Hydra.
do. That's one. That movie was already been released.
Right.
2, that's not the audience.
Oh. Christopher Nolan should show up and be like, "Hello, I'm Christopher Nolan." I don't know.
He's shown up for Batman.
Has he? Okay.
Yeah, Arnold and I were at one of the first Batman Begins.
That's back. That's like 06, bro.
Yep.
Damn.
And then they've
know how
done
long we've been going?
Gladiator stuff, right?
Gladiator.
Glad I ate.
Gladiator.
Wasn't George Lucas for the first time at Comic-Con last year? Was that last year? Or
Yeah.
when was that? Okay. What was
Yeah.
that for? Was that for the George Lucas Museum in LA or was that
Yeah.
for something else?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm looking at these activations. I'm like, I've never heard of these franchises. Like, I don't know. I just thought
and that's the thing. Like, it's not about you knowing about them. It's
Right,
about
right.
you going to them and discovering stuff, and then like being curious. It does do fan service. Like Percy
Yeah.
Jackson does have its fans. It's not like they're gonna go there and like not have fans, but it's also to help build the fan base. It's also like if you look at it, it's like it's goodwill towards the fans. Like a lot of this stuff is just like really, if you go to a Comic-Con, if you spend the time and spend the money, it's goodwill. It's like, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you enjoy the show. Here's something for you, like to show our appreciation, it's unfortunate that like you get like people who aren't fans going in line to go to these things. But that's also what you want, don't you? Like as a fan, don't you want the thing that you love to grow and actually stay around? And you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to be all like, "Oh, I can't get in." Well, you should be glad that people are interested.
For sure. HLP says it's like endless commercials without the TV. That's a good one, HLP.
I liked the Peanuts activation. It was pretty cute, and I was able to do that on Sunday since they capped the line on Saturday, like early in the morning too. Like they didn't even open, the line was capped. But I got to do it on Sunday, and it was cute because it was like you got to adopt a Snoopy or adopt, the brothers and sisters.
Do you have your
and things like
Snoopies
that.
handy? You showed those
I
earlier.
do, yes, I did share them.
Let's check out
earlier.
the
So
merch.
these were so cute. They were like $35 each. Oh, why am I so blurry?
Yeah.
But I got Snoopy and Spike. Yeah, Snoopy and Spike. They're plushies
Spike
from Super
French.
7. Very cute. And
Spice.
they had all of them. It was cool. That was my favorite part. I got a few other things like magnets and a couple of hats and stuff. I got Alex one of the hats. But yeah, it was super cute because it was like an adoption drive. But
Hold on.
and everything was like decorated out
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, there's the hat right there.
So before we start to wrap her up, let's I want to hear from you guys. What were some of your favorite cosplays that you saw this year? Arnold, let me start with you.
Favorite cosplays? Oh man, that was pretty cool. We saw that. I think I was with you, Donald and Alex. A big robot guy.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah, I saw
that Tron,
Yeah,
the giant Tron.
the Tron. That was
robot.
pretty cool. Last year we had the big Galactic cap. I mean Galactus. This year was the big Tron. Let's see. Other cosplays. I mean, gotta shout out the homie Adora.
Yes.
Mr. Hi, I'm Big Cat.
Yeah.
With his legit Darth
Star
Vader.
Trek. Georgie from Star Trek?
Well,
right?
he's Star Trek every year. That seems to be like
That's his base
the cosplay
costume.
that kind of warms it up. You know, start to get into it. Then the
Black
next
Panther.
day is Black Panther
and
and
Darth Vader.
that's when like you get people who are like, oh, can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Which that's for me. That's
Because
why
he's
I
so
would wanna,
tall. Like
yeah,
he's like
he's like-
one of the taller Darth Vaders in
I was
the
looking at him like
convention.
this.
I'm like, damn, dude. Yeah.
yeah. That's one of the reasons I wouldn't want to cosplay.
Why not?
People so that way because you get people who want to stop and
I could see you as Ned from Spider-Man, Arnold. You know, the
Ned.
best friend.
There's a Ned.
Yeah, in Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movies.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I could see you as
Is
the
this
best
the one with
friend.
Tobey Maguire?
No, it's the Tom Holland movies.
I mean Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah, you need that. You need that.
Yeah, which I went to the bureau party, which I did not see Tom Holland there, and I had to pay for the.
He was
beer
asking
bureau.
for you too. You're like, where's Arnold?
I
Where's
know.
Arnold? I want to
know,
meet Arnold.
Like Tom, yes, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
But then he was gone.
Zendaya was asking for you too, apparently. By the way.
Yeah,
So,
right.
So
Not
Tom better
again.
watch out. You know, snatch her up.
I feel like when you go to a convention and you're going to be cosplaying, dressing up or whatever, you have a little bit of the thing in the back of your head that tells you you're probably going to get stopped a bunch of times depending on what you're wearing. If you're going for super extravagant, like legitimate, like almost to the T cosplay, yeah, you're going to get stopped. I think that's why a lot of cosplayers do that anyways, because they know they're going to get stopped. They want to get stopped. That also is like a great way for them to get like recognized as well. A lot of them want to make cosplay a career because they travel to different conventions as well. So cosplay, it's a big thing, and I think a lot of people dress up specifically so they can get that attention. At least the times that
Yeah.
I've dressed up, like I remember we went to Level Up Expo here in Vegas, and I dressed up as it was just an inflatable Godzilla costume. I had people stopping me all the time, wanting to take pictures, and I met a bunch of people too.
Nice.
A lot of people that I'm like friends with still, you know.
I don't know. You could make a career out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one
absolutely.
One of my friends, Tina Explores, she had some really great cosplays, and she goes there to and is prepared for people to ask to take for get a picture with her. Tina
What does she
Explores,
dress up as?
Chun-Li, Spider-Man, Wolverine. Also, my friend
Your close
Athena,
friend Tina Explores. What's her what's her real name?
Another one of my friends, Athena Cami. This was the first time that I saw her show up there. She was a Charizard Pokemon
Charizard,
world. She was also Venom, which was really and they're prepared to take pictures and video, that people are gonna ask.
Nice.
So they're
Video
gonna
too,
ask.
huh?
Huh?
Video too, huh?
But yeah, because they're like, all right, shoot the venom or shoot the spider webs or
Yeah.
like, throw a fireball or
Shoot some webs.
yes,
Yeah.
Web slanging.
Let's see those claws
Shit.
protrude.
Shoot that water gun.
Yeah. They're like,
Donnie, what was some of your cosplays? Your favorite cosplay you saw this year?
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same one that you guys were talking about, the Transformer, but Galactus from Marvel, that is huge, the big purple one. That one was really awesome. And then I saw a really good She-Ra costume as well, cosplay as well. that stood out to me.
Where's that from, Jira?
She-Ra from He-Man. Like,
Oh,
sister.
She-Ra. I never
She-Ra,
watched
yeah.
He-Man.
Oh, really? Okay.
What about you, Justin? What's some of your favorite cosplay?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a video of it, but is when I was at the Adult Swim thing, and my favorite cosplay was the dude dressed up as Sailor Moon. I don't know if you could see.
Oh, I saw that video.
Yeah, the video of them dancing.
Yeah.
Yo, that was my favorite. It was pretty funny. There's a lot of cool ones though. There's like this giant, like, I don't even know what it was from, but it was like this giant robot that was walking around with like a fucking, I don't know. It was cool as hell though. There was a cute like fuzzy capybara that was at one of the booths. I thought that was like super cute, but that artist like mostly like focused on their art surrounding like capybaras. But it was the cutest capybara outfit that I've seen. Was it Adura's Darth Vader is always like super impressive. It's just because he's tall.
Yeah.
I saw like a really silly like Jabba the Hutt. It was like very I don't know. It looked like that it was meant to be like one of those blow up Jabba the Hutts, but maybe the blow up device, the fan wasn't working. So instead you could see all like the tubular spheres inside it from the outside. It was pretty funny. I didn't get to walk the convention floor a whole lot. The group of different Skeletors, like Chef Skeletor and soccer player Skeletor, those were pretty funny. Oh, there was one, I haven't posted this one yet, but it's from SpongeBob. It's like that old lady in the wheelchair. I don't know if you guys can see it. Probably not. But it's like the old lady in the wheelchair, and she's like, chocolate!
You'll have to send those to the...
Yeah,
I'll
send those out to you guys.
We'll put them in the show notes.
Also, the lady that was dressed up as Bloom from Winx Club, like, she was really cool. There's a lot of cool stuff.
Did you guys see that? And I don't even know where it would have been from. I saw an old guy walking around. He was like practically barefoot, practically shirtless. He had some kind of contraption attached to him that was like his costume. I don't know what it was, like a big tube or gun thing or something. And he was walking around like it was huge. It was like this big thing attached to him, and he was like completely barefoot walking around outside the convention center. I saw him at one point. Did you guys see that guy?
Was his head like a pot and he was wearing like white undies?
Yeah, he was practically naked. Yeah.
So that character, okay. So that guy, his username is called Let Me Solo Her, It's in reference to Elden Ring, because and it might be the same person, but there's a guy that plays Elden Ring who tries to like do like challenges. So pretty much he has no armor. No, nothing. He just has that pot for a head or whatever, and he goes around and he solos. I forget what her name is. She's one of the like crazier like bosses that you go fight, and so he calls Let Me Solo Her because he uses absolutely no equipment, maybe like some sword or whatever, to fight her, and then he beats her. Like he's kind of sort of known as like more or less a challenge runner, a speed runner for video games. But his character in the game is dressed like that intentionally.
Is it this guy?
Yes, that guy. That is it.
I don't know if
it's that who you're.
Well, I don't remember if it. He had like some kind of contraption on like this side of his body.
Oh,
and he
interesting.
was like, man,
well, this guy was walking the convention floor, and I didn't take a picture of him because
was he dressed like this?
No, the one with the pot on his head. Yeah, the one that's Let Me Solo or whatever. Yeah, or Let Me Solo Them.
No, it wasn't that guy.
I remember seeing that guy with you, Justin.
Yeah, that guy's great. I love.
You know what?
I love that cosplay.
I forgot one that I really liked. I forgot one that I saw that I really liked. It was like a guy dressed like Mega Man, but 8-bit, but only from the side view. So when you went to the other side, it was like you could see him. It was just only from his side profile where he had a costume on.
Oh, the Metroid one. They also have like a Doom
Metroid,
one as well, or something like that. Yeah.
Let's see. What were some?
See that big robot guy. I got a video and picture of that big robot guy.
This
right there.
guy?
Yeah, that guy's from Tron.
Yeah. Oh, that's from Tron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Holy
had no
shit.
idea. I haven't seen Ares yet, so I don't know anything about that character.
Wow. What else we got? This is some of the top costumes.
I wonder
The
if
Galactus one
Adura's
was
going
cool.
to
It
be
was
in
huge.
there.
Just like the big purple one.
Who's this guy right here?
Andre the Giant, specifically from Princess Bride.
I'm
gonna guess.
And
Trying to see if I
Who's
see
she?
any of
She's
my
just like
friends
a-
in there.
Lestat. Vampire Lestat.
Vampire Lestat. Got the Chihuahua.
Tina? No, Tina's not there.
Tina.
You got to go to
Athena?
OF for that.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Of.com. It's of.com, Arnold. Let's see.
That's great
Oh,
stuff.
what was
That's
that?
great.
Oh,
Oh,
We're
wow.
kind of getting
look at
lost in the weeds here.
Yeah, we are
Well,
getting lost in
I
this.
saw that Bowser there too. Actually, I think I might have a picture of them. Yeah.
I saw this
There's a lot
Oh.
of digital. I was going to say Nitro Circus. A lot of digital circus stuff. Which, by the way, I'm
Wow.
gonna. Okay, I feel like. Yeah, I understand the fandom for digital circus, I guess, but I
That's
don't
cool.
like it. I don't like it. I don't like the fandom either. I think their show is annoying. I'm sorry if you like digital circus, but
What's Digital Circus?
Me
the
neither.
amazing digital circus. Maybe you should ask your son after the podcast.
He does
Man, I
have
feel like
this.
I didn't see many
Oh,
of these
wow.
ones. Like,
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Look at that.
because
Lots of
also
cool cosplays.
I saw that Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Squirrel
mean,
Girl.
a lot of the time also was spent in
Blockbuster Video employee. Oh,
Shopping.
it wasn't this lady exactly,
I interviewed
but
this guy.
I have a picture of someone dressed up as Gladys from Weapons as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
Blade. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool,
Lots of cool
lot of cool
stuff this
things.
year.
Yeah.
several Blades this year.
All right, Alex. Really, before we wrap her up, what was your favorite cosplay from?
Oh, I saw the Gladys from Weapons. That was pretty good.
There was a lot that I enjoyed. Nothing really stood out to me, but I did go see one of my favorite cosplayers at the Frazetta Girls panel. And I got her to sign my a cosplay cover that she did for Vampirella. That's Erica Fett. Got to meet her. Super awesome person. Like, she does a really cool podcast about cryptozoology. That's what it's called.
Oh, I thought
And-
about crypto.
No, who cares about that? She does a cryptozoology podcast, and like it's kind of mythical creatures and stuff like that. And that panel, it was really cool, like a really cool panel. She did. They talked about Frank Frazetta, the artwork that he did, and like the inspiration of like that women, and how like it helped with the female empowerment movement and everything like that, even though it was just kind of like a side. It wasn't something that he was purposely trying to do, but like it really empowered a lot of women to embrace sexuality, embrace the that's great, Arnold. That's cool. That I thought that was really cool. And she was she's an awesome cosplayer. If you don't follow her, check her out, erica.fet. I don't think she really does cosplay a lot, although she still does design costumes. She just mostly focuses on her podcast. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else. I think there were a lot of cool moments at the con that we barely scratched the surface of the con. I kind of think we kind of went on a tangent on stinky people.
I was talking with somebody I was talking with Chris, Milkman America, about Comic-Con, and I was thinking about it. I was like, there was nothing really like super extravagant, like a certain panel or meeting a certain celebrity, or it was, for me, it was doing having this Comic-Con experience with friends, with family, with cousins, and doing that together. That to me was just made it even better. That was the what made it really special for me.
That was definitely a highlight for me too. Like the fact that we were not only getting together once again, but like, having people who haven't gone in a while or it's their first time going was great. Like having Justin back in the fold with us, like it was awesome to have him as part of the group again.
And me for the first time.
Yeah, no, and with you,
Yeah.
like other friends who like got to go, like Logan, my friend Noah. It was cool to see them see Comic-Con experience through their eyes. You know what I mean? It's that's one of those things, and I think that's what like one of the things I really really want to touch on, and I think it's an important thing to touch on, like, as funny and like all the stuff that we were talking about was, I think it's very important to like note that there are people who are like shitting on like, oh, I'm not going to Comic-Con anymore and anything like that, and it's like they've lost sight of what it really means to go to Comic-Con. Like they concentrate on too much on like being able to get the exclusives and like how crowded the floor was. But I think that's the whole point. Like I even said, isn't it great that other people are enjoying stuff that you enjoy?
Yeah.
And isn't it great that I was watching a thing on like how movie theaters are popping off again. Like somebody drove to go watch the back rooms and the parking lot was full, and that's an amazing thing. Like to go to a movie theater and see the parking lot full. It hadn't been like that in a while. And it's cool to see that happening. And that's the same thing with Comic-Con. Like, I think that's like so important. Like the fact that like it sells out every year and that like people go even not knowing what's going to be happening at the con, they go because they want to be around the people. And even, it's hard to walk around and it can be hot and it gets stinky. And, like the food and other goods in the Gaslamp District are like literally 35% more than you could get anywhere else. However, like the experience of going to Comic-Con is something that cannot be replicated anywhere else. We talked about this earlier in the show, like trying to move it to Denver, trying to move it to anywhere else, to Vegas. You cannot replicate this. It's something so special. And that's why people want to come every year to this event. I can't say anything more. If it were to move to a different, I don't ever want to go to it again because it's not going to be the same event. Like coming to downtown San Diego, having a city, like a part of it, the Gaslamp District, and it's got its own element, but then you go to the other side of the convention center and you're right by the marina, seeing the water, and there's something like rejuvenating about being out there. You know what I mean? Like being by the water, being by, and like there's no other feeling like that. Like when we were at the Adult Swim party, like that vibe, that you can't replicate that.
No,
like
you're enjoying this great party, outdoor party, DJ, light show. You've got like you see the wrap on the Hilton Bayfront for the American Horror Story. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, these fireworks going on in the distance. Was that for what was going on at the radio show?
That was for the Funko event. They had, and it just kind of added to the element of like joy and wonder for that event. And it's kind of like there's been so many times where I've gone to the con and like, man, this kind of thing I can't replicate it. Like when Justin and I went to go see Anamanaguchi at the House of Blues that one time for free, we'll never replicate that. We'll never replicate that. And that lives in my mind, in my memory, like, and holds a special place. It's irreplaceable.
Yeah. I agree. A lot of the unique shows that we just happen to stumble upon when like the first 5 years of me going to San Diego Comic-Con, I was a broke bastard, man. Like, but I made it work, man.
I was going to say, unlike other
man.
major cultural events, this is relatively affordable, right? Like you can't even get into the Super Bowl unless you're paying thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
right? Like, isn't this like
Right.
what is it, $100 a day or something like that? Arnold was telling me
Less than that.
less than that.
Yeah.
So you could go for a day for less
Yeah.
than $100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't
And
do that
it-
with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, although it is like hard because of the lottery system, but
there's a lottery
digress.
system?
For the tickets, yes.
Oh,
There is- yeah,
I didn't know
if you-
that.
especially if you didn't go the previous year, it's a lottery, so not everybody gets to
really?
go. Yeah,
That's an
And
interesting
you might not
dynamic.
even get the whole week. You might get one single day, or like me, I only got 2 days
Once you
for the
press our
convention
media
center.
pass.
Yeah, I only got Thursday and Sunday, and thanks to Donnie, we snuck in on Saturday. Anyway, but it's all the unique stuff. It's all the unique stuff that happens during the convention center. You don't have to spend a dime. You really don't. I mean, on tickets,
Yeah.
if you want to go, but you can literally just go out there, give yourself a small little budget, and kind of just work with that, And it's because of like the group that going with friends, and it was able to
I agree.
make my experience a lot better because I was able to see these cool free shows.
I had
or
fun
we got
because
in.
you guys had fun. You know what
Good.
I'm saying? I'm in real
That's
dad
good.
mode. I'm like, if you guys are having fun, I'm having
Yeah.
fun,
Well,
baby.
and consider this. Like, it's like you could just buy the ticket and not have to spend a dime other than food and your lodging, right? Like, you don't have to buy anything. You could go to all the panels. You could go to all the activations that are free and still have an amazing time. Like, you could go to
And-
that. You could go to the film festival that they host. You could go to like all the like. There's a pinball room. There's a hosted by Stern Pinball.
Are there
You
pinball
could-
wizards there?
I don't know.
I'm sure there are. Only one way to
sure
find
there are.
out. So,
And then like this year they had like Nintendo was back and they had their room where you could play like Nintendo Switch games,
And then the free visor that they give you, you can sell that on eBay for $35. You can sell some of the pins that they give you on eBay. A lot of the free swag.
But I'm
you
talking
can-
about the
you can-
fun stuff.
You can
I'm not
recoup.
talking about like the work you have to do afterwards.
Arnold's a professional flipper.
No. The stuff that they give you for free. You can
Yeah.
recoup a lot of your spending, and the trip
But I'm
might even
trying
be
to
free,
see-
or
I'm
perhaps you
trying to
even
see-
made money.
Bro, just to touch on what Arnold's talking about, I remember the year that they had like the Castle Rock activation and they had like the Borderlands 3 activation as well. I got my hands on a bunch of that stuff, and then I was able, and it was all free, by the way. There was like a Castle Rock like hotel keychain, and then some like posters and masks and stuff from Borderlands. I kept some for myself, but I also flipped the ones that I didn't want, and I made money back on that too. It was pretty funny. But yeah, it's not
Nice.
about
I
that.
remember-
Though. It's not about that.
It's not about
I
that.
remember I found a stack of Walking Dead stickers back in the days when Walking Dead. This was like around the time when Negan, like they ended the season where
when it was
you know,
still popular.
before they didn't know who he killed. Well, so I found a stack of like Walking Dead stickers about that thick, sitting on top of a trash can inside the convention center. I grabbed it because I was like, "Oh, cool, Walking Dead. All right."
Fortunately, that's
then-
where it belonged.
Well,
No, I'm just
back then, one of those stickers was selling for like $15 to $20 each.
What?
So then I sold a lot of. I made a ton.
We're in the wrong game, boys. We need to get into the sticker game or something. Sell some stickers. No? Okay. I'm being told. Survey says no.
we have stickers. We have stickers. If you guys want the stickers,
We have
hit
stickers.
us up.
And I got this
We'll send
cool
you some.
hat thanks to Alex. Ask me about my current reads, baby. There we go. Can you see that? Is that good? There you go.
Hey, you look
Yeah,
good in the
nice.
hat.
Thank you.
You look
I
good
like
in
the
the hat.
color.
You
You should
do.
wear a hat.
I like the color.
Yeah.
I should wear the hat. Yeah. Why is it so flat though? It's like a plate. You could put a plate.
That's a flat
Yeah.
bill.
You could
Yeah,
eat
bend it.
off of this. I remember
you
Sam.
talked
He would
about
wear
this.
his
You
hat
talked
with
about
the
it like
sticker on the
Beckham.
side, and I'd be like, Sam, the sticker's still on it. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, you want me to take it off for you? He's like, no. Is that a cultural thing? Is that like the sticker must stay? Is that aesthetics? I don't know what that's about.
I take
It's a
them off.
it's
I
a-
don't like it.
Yeah.
It's a
Sam liked it.
streetwear
off,
thing.
too.
Some people like it. What's the name?
It was right
Leslie. He made custom stickers for his hats the ones that he would made, and they were actually pretty cool. I would kind of like keep it on for a little bit. just because it looked cool.
Well, I
HLP's
realized that you can keep the sun out of your eyes, and it holds back a little bit of the sweat. And if your hair is long, like mine is right now, the little hair I have left, you don't have to worry about brushing your hair as much.
Exactly.
Apparently, there's utility to wearing hats. I thought it was just like a vibes thing. You know what I mean? So, who'd thunk it?
HLP asked about stickers. We got some stickers
HLP
for
will
you,
send
HLP.
you a whole pack of stickers, and you can leave them on top of a trash can. No, I'm just kidding. We'll send you some. Who's in
I'm sure
Palm
that was
Springs?
the purpose of inventing hats in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's what I didn't realize until I started wearing a hat. Now it's my whole personality. You know what I mean?
I need something to decorate my head. And it serves no other purpose.
All right, fellas. Well, unless anybody has anything else, I think we should get on to the final question of the night. Arnold, we'll start with you. What is one thing you would change if you could about Comic-Con, Arnold?
What's one thing? Did you ask this? Like give us a heads up?
I gave you the whole show to think about your response. Yeah.
I didn't. So what is it? What would be
What's
one thing?
you would change about Comic-Con? If you were God, what would you change?
Bigger. Make it bigger.
Okay, that's fair. I like where your head's at.
Instead of hall, like I said, instead of Hall H, just like
Hall-
all the whole 6,900 people, make it a Hall H arena.
Hall I. Don't even stop there. Go to Hall J. You know?
Oh, just call it Hall High. HI.
There you go.
Combine the two of them. 6,900 plus 6,900. You figure that's like what, like go call it 15,000 people. That
There you go.
It would hold.
So
That's
go big
that's
or
like
go
the
home.
Acrisure Arena over here, and have a little one of those built. Then that kind of solves a little bit, maybe.
I think that's a good idea, honestly. I'm not even joking. Like, why not go bigger? Can you expand into the marina? Can you like do what they did in New York and like fill in some of that water with fake land and just kind of build on top of that?
Well, they actually were in talks about expanding across that direction. I don't. The people who own that land just sold that land to another restaurant because they were waiting for that Joe's Crab Shack to come down to like the lease to go up and like people were gonna buy that land, but I guess somebody swooped in and is gonna turn it into a new restaurant, I guess. So I don't know.
There
But
you
then,
go.
like that's I don't know.
What would you change, Alex? What would be your big change
My big change?
if you could change anything about Comic-Con?
I wouldn't change a thing, to be quite honest.
There you go.
I think that's like the fact that it's what it is makes it special. And like I think if you're to make space for more, you have to consider the fact that here's the thing. The state of Hollywood, they're like broke. That's why there weren't as many like activations outside. That's why like you saw like American Horror Story 13, they opted for ice cream trucks. They didn't do big like the big activation like they did last year. They didn't have like a tentpole show like Alien Earth to like revolve everything around. It was like this show that has been around for years. Like this is their 13th year, and like they couldn't afford to bring anything big to it. And like I don't think there's like a huge fan base now, or like people are like that vested in it these days anymore. So like to promote American Horror Story, there it was like kind of like what do we do with this area?
Right.
And we don't have a lot of money. Let's give ice cream. You know what I mean? That's kind of like it didn't take a lot of manpower. It didn't
Some
really
Dippin'
take.
Dots for your troubles, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like that's the whole thing. If you try to expand, like you're just gonna have even more empty space.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
So you're
So, I
saying
don't
keep
know.
the status quo. Keep the status quo.
I think just keep it where it is and it's gonna ebb and flow like it always does. And hopefully Hollywood gets better. Like that's the whole thing. It's like when did we have the last like huge push in Hollywood, and that was like around the late '90s, early 2000s.
Mm.
You know, you look at like things like The Matrix, you look at like all the films that were coming out of that era, Lord of the Rings. You know, that was a huge deal during that time. But now it's like we're waiting for that. We're on the cusp, I believe, and we're just kind of like trying to like navigate through this whole like AI generated, and I think that like it's just gonna collapse anyways. We're on the like the cusp of it, like kind of like this generative AI stuff, like kind of being, you know, like we're gonna lots of people, lots of creatives are gonna see that this is not the end all be all for us, and we're gonna like, you know, push to create new stuff that doesn't rely on AI. I think AI is a tool that we can use, but it's like not something that we should let control the creatives. The creatives control the tool.
I agree 100% on that. Well, great. Yeah. Justin, what would you change about Comic-Con if you could?
I'm on the same lines of not really changing it at all. I would say maybe change the placement of security access, maybe. Not so I can like sneak in or nothing like that. No, when you do the security placement outside of the convention center, it's like you just have a couple of security guards checking for everybody's badges. I feel like that could be done in a different way and more efficient way. I think it really leads to a lot of bottlenecking all the time. I don't know if it's because you should probably like block off more of that road or something. I don't know, maybe put ramps so there's no like tripping hazard for people to walk through there. But there's like different points of the front of the convention center where I feel like it's really annoying and really inconvenient. Where you have security just checking everybody's badges, and then it gets bottlenecked because someone's like, "Oh, I have a QR code and I need to go pick up my badge," and they're like, "Okay, we want to see your QR code." You kind of have to have that ready even before you get to the front of the convention center. It's like, and it's not that it's like that crazy or anything, because like you know, as long as you have your shit ready to go, you should be fine. But I feel like as far as congestion wise goes, I think they need to change the format that they need to do that. And maybe even expanding the road of Harbor a little bit. That's what that road is in front of the convention center. It's Harbor, something like that. I think they just need to block off maybe a larger portion. I would say, you know, and it sucks. I know it's the hotels that are like, hey, you can't do that because we have a hotel here and we want people to, you know, valet or whatever. But they should work out a deal with Marriott or something and cut it all the way off to the, you know, end of that block of Marriott and cut it off all the way to the end block of the Hilton Bayfront, and just make that just a congregation so everybody can like walk through it. Now maybe there's like safety issues there in regards to that, but I don't know. I feel like they could do that a little bit better. I just think it creates a lot of unnecessary congestion. There's a lot of people coming in and out of that place, and I think they can fix that. I think one other thing too is, and you know, maybe fuck me for saying this, but if there are outside activations, I think some of the outside activations should consider having a badge holder. It doesn't matter what day, they should have badge holder lines or something.
Like priority for badge
priority
holders.
lines.
I agree with that.
That's
I
good.
agree with
It's
that.
like TSA
Priority lines.
pre-check.
It doesn't even have to be like VIP, because I know the line's still going to be long, but it would also draw the crowd out of the convention center. It would also draw the crowd for those that don't have like all the days. You know, it would benefit people that are like, they have
a good
badges.
idea.
Maybe it's only for Sunday. Maybe it is only for Sunday, but they can go on like Wednesday, Thursday to the activation, or Friday, Saturday, whatever day they want to go. As long as they have their badge, they have like a priority line for badge holders specifically. Doesn't have to be VIP. Can just be a standard line. It's just you have people without a badge, people with the badge, and that I feel like that would encourage
That
outside activations to pop up a little bit more too.
they can handle that like kind of like a single rider line.
Yeah, exactly. Like a
They'd
single
have
rider
to
line.
like really watch for that because they can usually just be like, "Hey, let me use your pass real quick so that way I can go on that."
Yeah,
you know.
but at the same
Well,
time,
no, they
who
could still
cares?
scan. They could
Yeah.
scan
Yeah.
the badges. They
Oh
could
yeah,
have
You're like,
readers.
oh, it's
and, like,
already
oh,
been
you
used
went.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true too. You could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it would probably take some finagling to get that to work for
Yeah.
all
Well-
the things, but yeah.
The cool thing is when like I in that podcast as well, like with David Glanzer, he was saying that most of the activations that pop up around the convention center during that time, they are approved activations, so they could logistically do that where they have like the scanner to scan your badge and be like because they are partnering with the con because they have to like. They have to, for logistic purposes, they have to get approval for certain things. Like, say, for instance, they can't just have Nike pop up. It's like, why are you here? Why is Nike here? It's like, you have to get, like, approval to be in the area of sorts, Like, that's kind of the whole thing. Like, because a lot of those pop-ups occur in or around businesses that are adjacent to the convention. And so there's, like, sort of approval for that. Like, for instance, like one thing that like the downside, like what you're talking about, like closing off the street up to like the Hyatt or the Marriott. The one thing is because they work out deals for rooms, like a lot of that sort of stuff goes into play. Like, so like, are you going to close off the street in front of us? Are you going to like have access, like our hotel guests? And if they say no, we're going to close that off, that could affect their relationship and the ability to block off rooms for the convention and getting better deals. Because like they want it to be their whole purpose of like doing the room block is to make it affordable for their attendees to go. Because like David Glanzer was saying, like the first time he ever went to Comic-Con, over 40 years ago, he like had only $48 with him. And that was back then. It was enough for food, to buy stuff, and to like also like, spend money on lodging. That like all like went to that. And so, if things get less affordable, or like less rooms are available, that makes it lot less likely for people to want to work with Comic-Con. So.
Was that pretty much it for you, Justin, as far as what you changed, or did you have more you wanted to add?
No, I think generally that was pretty much it. Honestly, like you get what you want to get out of Comic-Con. Going into it, don't and Alex is right. Go to Comic-Con with friends. It's the best way to experience it. Get a hotel room together. Yeah, sure. You're gonna have to like sleep in like with like 5 other people,
Butt to butt.
or whatever. But it's that's what creates those memories. It's like some random bullshit that happens in the middle of the night. Like someone shitting in the bathroom and it stinks up.
I
the
got
whole
to
place.
see you
It's memories,
dancing.
man. It's the
I
memories.
never
thing.
see you dancing, and I got to see, and I got to say, you got some good moves, Justin.
Bro, I probably dance just as good as Donald Trump. I'm just joking. No, and I'm not going to take up much more of the time, but it's just like, the haters that say that, that the convention isn't worth it, or that it's just they're not going to go anymore. Good. Let someone else go then. Let someone else have a good time, because if you're going to be a negative Nancy about something that obviously people are still going to, hundreds of thousands of people are still going to go to, that's just more of a them problem. You wanted to go and chase whatever it is that you wanted to chase, whether it's toys, moments, and whatnot, but that's not ultimately that's not what the convention is about. It's a celebration of comic books and fandoms and cosplays and friendships and connections. It's not about the material things. As much as this convention is about, material things, it's not really about that. It's about the memories that you make while you're there and the different experiences you have while you're there.
And
that's
the stories,
that's it for me.
And the stories that the creators make.
There you
The
go.
stories that the
Well
creators
said.
make, because it's a comic convention for comic books, and that's ultimately what it's all about.
Thank you for that, Justin. Donnie, what would you change?
Yeah, personally, I think it would be cool to see later panels. I know there's some, like this year they had some that went up till 9 p.m. They were more like adult content anime panels, right? But I would like to see more variety for later panels. Like last year, Alex and I went to one that was pretty late. I think it was like 7:30, but it showcased Filipino heritage and identity in pop culture, and I thought that was a good panel, and there was a pretty decent turnout. But to have more in the evening hours, I think it would help kind of clear out some of the congestion that happens earlier on in the day, right? Because now people have to be strategic about what they're going to do, what they're going to go see, and it kind of spreads it out a little more. Because it ends pretty early. What time does it end at? Like 5 or 6? It ends pretty early, even on a
was like
Friday,
7.
Saturday.
Well, the programming
7?
still does. There's still quite a bit of programming that goes till 9.
Is there
Yeah.
a podcast
Yeah,
panel, and how do we
There
apply?
was a few panels this year too, but I wish there was more like bigger ones that people would kind of like.
Yeah.
I feel like those are just fillers sometimes. Like not like all the main ones, of course, happen in the daytime. But if you put some bigger ones in the evening, I think it would help kind of spread the crowd a little. Help thin it out a little bit. But that's just my thought.
Well, I think that's a very good point. I think that's I think the only issue is like a lot of these panelists, the people they propose the panels, and they have to spend their own money to.
Yeah.
They give them the passes, but they can't. They have to spend their own money to like get the panelists there. So that's a difficult thing.
Gotcha. Yeah. Also, more variety for food. I think in the con. I feel like they have a lot of the same things.
Is there food
Yeah.
within the
There's
convention
food there.
center?
Yeah, there's some
I
food
didn't know
places
that.
in there, but yeah, there's a lot. But
Yeah.
I think there's not much variety. Like it still made me want to go out. Like I was like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
go to Jack in the Box.
I think there's actually a decent variety there now. It's got actually this year it was the first year that I saw they had burritos and tacos.
Okay,
They also
I didn't even
had,
see that.
Yeah, that was in the sales pavilion.
The sales pavilion.
But my issue is the price. It's
The price is high.
yeah, but I think it's
one more. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's about the same as like going to like it's the whole like convenience keeping on campus versus like leaving the
Yeah.
thing, so.
Yeah. I was gonna say I forgot what event it was, but I remember going to something where they offered like discounted tickets if like you only wanted to come at night for like the last couple hours. I forgot where I saw that, but you know what it was? It was reading about Japan and how Japan has like these tickets for theme parks like Universal Studios, where if you go in the last 2 hours, it's like a heavily discounted price. But I think that would be cool to to open it up to some people that can't afford to go to a con, because of the pricing is so high.
Nice. Well, as the first time semi-attendee, I should say, the only thing I would change is that I'm actually going to go into the convention center next time I go. Actually go inside and experience it firsthand. I feel like I have a good understanding of what it's like in there just based on everything I've seen, but actually experiencing it for myself. Everything outside, I wouldn't change a thing. Like I said, San Diego's a great city. You're right there downtown in the Gaslamp District. And then, like, if you have time, if you're not going all days, go to the fucking I can't talk right now. The Wild Animal Park in San Diego. Go to Balboa Park. Go to Old Town San Diego.
Go to
There's so
Cheetahs.
much.
Well, because they're promoting one of the wild animal parks. Like around con. I think it's called Cheetahs.
Well, what about Bangkok or was it Hong Kong? What is it called?
Yeah. Go to
Chinese
a
food?
San Diego Zoo. Go.
I thought the Wild Animal Park was over in Palm Springs, aka what's that?
The Living
I was
Desert.
going to say the Springs Preserve, but that's here in Vegas.
Arnold, you haven't been to the barracks, have you?
That's the
No,
Wild
that's
Animal
closed on.
Park.
Oh,
not-
it's closed down.
Yeah, not that I know.
Health code violation, apparently.
No, Zelda's was known as the.
Yo,
Well, CCBC,
Acosta's was the classier Zeldas, and that's gone now too, apparently.
That's
Cathedral
gone, too.
City Bear Club, Cub.
Why doesn't
Club.
Indio have a nighttime? We're not going to get into all that.
Now
Yeah,
it's the
San
Nest.
Diego's a great.
Oh.
San Diego's the perfect city. They should not leave San Diego ever. I think you're right, Alex. I think
Yeah.
if they left San Diego, they'd lose a lot of their audience, because it's just that cool of a city to be in. I was telling my friend Jordan the other day. I said San Diego's like the Miami of the West Coast minus the douchiness. Like I feel there's way less douchiness in San Diego for being a coastal city than like Miami, for example. So
And I feel
except
like
you
Miami
go-
would have
if
a
you
lot
wanna
more
get some-
humidity.
If you want to get some douchiness, you have to just go to the right beach here in in San Diego, but they're usually pretty small.
Can
well-
I bring up real quick Designer Con, like how they try to relocate to Vegas? I don't know what the situation is, but this year they are bringing back a Los Angeles version of it, including the Vegas one. So I don't know if that
Oh,
was
the
because.
the Pasadena one already happened.
Oh yeah. So, but I mean, like they did that on top of the Vegas one,
Oh yeah.
and then but initially, right? So I wonder what caused that. I don't know the history behind it, or if they like lost foot traffic by moving it to Vegas or whatnot. But
So I do believe I saw like a video they were talking about it, like how there are fans who like miss the old Designer Con that took place in Pasadena, and they wanted to bring that vibe back, and so like
There you go.
that's what they were doing. It was like, I guess Designer Con Pasadena is more focused on local Southern California
Sure.
things, whereas the Vegas one is more focused like international.
so I think that same thing would happen, or same type of thing would happen if you did that San Diego, right?
Yeah.
You'd lose that vibe.
well, there we go, fellas. I think we did it. We covered pretty much everything that we were meant to cover. I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. No, that was a good discussion. It was a good time. It was a good hang with the fellas, with the boys. Got some one-on-one time with Alex, with Arnold, with you, Donnie. Not so much with you, Justin, because you were a little busy. But it was still nice to see you in the flesh, as they say.
Justin got in so much stuff though on
Yeah.
like Saturday.
Yeah, I
you
know.
fit in. You
Oh,
were like
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, let me just talk about this real quick. Like, give me like 2 minutes. to
Oh,
talk
we're out of
about it.
time.
But-
I'm just kidding.
so I only had, like I said, I only had 2 days, but I was only able to go Sunday. Technically, my badge was only available for Sunday because the only other day I had was for Thursday. So I got in, I flew in on Friday. The original plan for Friday was once we got into town, we were going to go to the hotel and then just do what we could while we were out there. Unfortunately, that couldn't happen because of the
We were
flight,
supposed to record
the
an
flight
episode.
issues. Yeah, and that as well. So I had to cram as much as I could in the 2 days that we were there, and then on Saturday morning or Saturday, yeah, we went in the morning, right, to just go pick up my badge because we missed the Snoopy thing. So we went instead to go pick up my badge, and we all went to me, Donnie, and Jess went to go get our tote bags and everything else that comes with it. And we followed Donnie around, and he's like, hey, we're already like where the exhibit hall is, so why don't we just go check out, see if we can get in? And we were able to get in. It was great. So we impromptu was able to get our Saturday on for at least half the day. And then we went to go do the Candyland thing, which although it was cute and cool, and I got a t-shirt and a magnet out of it, probably not worth the price point for it. And that was just to get the table. So a little on the pricey side for just like a meal and some photo ops, and that was about it. Then we went over to the interactive zone. Unfortunately, they like capped everything, but we were able to meet Bloom from Winx Club, which was cool, and we got to spin for like some collector cards and stuff. I also bought like My Little Pony collector cards and a few other things. And then I forgot what else we did that day. I think we went over to the Adult Swim, and that was like around the time we're like, okay, let's do the Adult Swim stuff, and then wrap it up, go back to the hotel, rest, shower up, so we can go do the yacht party. And I don't think that ever got around to me, but the yacht party was a highlight of my night because it was really fun seeing everybody again. Like I said, I haven't been to this in 7 years, so that's probably just as much time as it's been since I've seen a lot of people in person. The last time I went to Comic-Con was 2019, right before COVID. You know, and then life happening all the time to me for some reason. Couldn't go for 7 years, but now I'm back. And then Sunday, we actually had a full day to do convention stuff, and I was able to cram in a lot of swag. Got to eat a lot of good food. Yeah, and ultimately, I had a really good time. Honestly, just being out there and seeing you guys was the highlight of my time there.
It was a good time. It was a good hang, like I said. So, all right, fellas. Well, I think we did it. HLP says the yacht party looks sick. It was sick. HLP, mostly because I was getting queasy towards the end, unfortunately, which didn't expect was going to happen. I mean, like right at the end, I was like, whoa, I got to get off this boat. But yeah, good times, guys. Yeah, follow us and nothing else. Follow us, Never Seen Podcast, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, same thing, TikTok, YouTube. Follow us everywhere. Blue Sky, neverseenitpodcast.com. Email us podcast.neverseenit@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Check out our website again, please. We're actually going to do a little revamp coming up here soon, so be on the lookout for that. Thanks to Mr. Kyle Mapson of Burn Cycle for the intro and outro music. You can follow Kyle on Instagram at selfies_food_and_pets. And yeah, any final words from the gentleman? No? Okay.
SDCC 2027.
Yeah.
Press pass.
It'll be we'll have press passes. It'll be official. We'll be on location.
Yeah.
We'll dedicate like a day or two to actually like talking with just random strangers.
We'll be emceeing Hall H one of these days. Don't worry.
Also, for those of you who are wanting to attend next year, make sure you create your member IDs. Do it soon. Do it now as soon as possible, because like tickets are going on sale. Return registration is October 17th. General sales happen on November 14th. So if you're planning on going, get your member ID created now. So
do it soon. Do it now.
HLP says no rating, no snooze-o-meter. You know what, Arnold? Let's do it. Let's do a snooze-o-meter, because I feel like that's important in Comic-Con, Arnold. What do you think?
Okay.
Hold on.
what's going on here?
A 1Z rating. I give it a 1Z. Not for like, but for the overall, because Comic-Con, it's a marathon. You know, for all at Wednesday that it starts, you can easily go hard that first day and just be like pooped, and you're like, I still got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And
Yep.
you know, like for me, I went a little too hard on Thursday night, and
Yeah.
and it affected my performance on Friday. And but you know, I rallied.
Yeah.
I rallied Saturday. You know, I got up nice and early and went at it hard. I had my B vitamins. I had all my vitamins. I had my lion's mane. Got very hydrated.
As hard as you went though on Thursday, did you have a good time with Logan? That's the important thing.
I did. That was great. That was I really had a good time. Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it. So it was a self-inflicted sort of, that caused the higher Z rating. So, you gotta think about these things that'll affect your performance. You know, you want to be able to perform well and last the whole marathon. Because it is.
You definitely have to perform well so you can last longer. That is important. Stamina is important.
Stamina.
I do agree with Arnold though. Like I have a friend who this was his first year, Noah, and he's like a very fit dude. He runs like a lot, and he said like he went pretty hard on Saturday, and he was pretty tired. That's why he bailed on us on the yacht party.
Oh, is that the guy, the skinny guy?
Yeah,
that was there at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering what happened to him. I was
he like got off the boat. He was like, "Man, I'm just so tired. Like, I can't make it." I was like, "That's fine, dude. Like, I get it. You went hard, and you know, he had a good time though. So
definitely. All right, gentlemen. Well, if there's nothing else, say goodnight to the chat. Goodnight to HLP. You got your snooze meter. There you go. thanks to HOP for the snooze and meter music, by the way. Isn't it always self-inflicted for the Z ratings? That's a good question. Is it, Arnold?
Kind of.
Kind
Sometimes though, the 6 tacos doesn't affect, and it's just so good, and you're like, totally captivated.
Yes, sir. All right, gang. Well, say goodnight to the gang in the chat, and that's gonna be it for us.
Good night, gang in chat.
Good night, gang.